It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Come on in, partner, and join us for the Wild West Showdown. Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Wild West Showdown with me, your old partner, J.C. Halsey. This is a show filled with love, and I want to share that love with you. You know, I've been a writer for some time now, and I know how much of a struggle it is to get noticed. I also know how hard it is for those who have gone unnoticed for a while and who feel they need a little more love. I know what it's like to be cast aside by the readers of the world, and that's why I want to share my experiences with you. Not only through this radio show, but through my new publishing company, Outlaws Publishing, and of course, with the books that I write. But this show is not about promoting me. It's about uplifting you and making you feel like the author you want to be. How is it a man like me with no formal education can even write books? Well, as many of you who write can claim, I'm a storyteller, and to me, that's the only qualification a writer needs. A pen, a pencil, a pad, an iPad, a computer, all of these things will give you the ability to share something that you feel needs sharing. Whether you are published, unpublished, or even if that book is just something for you to read to the grandkids, you are an author. Everybody, in my opinion, has a story to tell. But what happens if you want to make that story into a book? Again, in my experience, the first thing that can happen is you can spend a lot of money doing something wrong. You can sign with a vanity press and spend thousands of dollars that you'll never get back. Or you can self-publish, promote the book yourself, or you can lock it in the closet and forget about it. Or you can do a combination of all these things. That combination will give you experiences of all elements of the publishing world. You'll know about the sharks in the sea of books waiting to gobble your dollars. You'll know about the heartbreak of the self-published author getting a ton of bad reviews because somebody didn't put a comma in the right place. You'll know the sadness of never having anybody read your book. You may even have ideas about finding an agent at some point in the future, and that agent may or may not work out. But the thing that I want to stress is that whatever you do and whatever path you take, there's always going to be pitfalls. Those pitfalls are going to test your faith in your writing, and your qualifications to even be a writer. I'm telling you, if you have a story, and that story is worth telling to your neighbor, to your children, your brother, or the guy you met at the doctor's office, then it is worthy of you telling in a book. Your story is worthy of my reading, and I'd be proud to read your story. You must never lose faith in your books, your qualifications, your right to share your book with the world. You got to keep moving, keep waiting, keep pushing your way forward. Never, never give up hope. That's what I did. And today, if I start to lose hope, I look around me and I watch the other authors who are surging ahead, trying to make those dreams come true. Authors inspire me. You inspire me. Now, I want to share with you a couple of poems that I wrote a while back. I hope you enjoy them. There you stand with your back to the sun, wondering when or if he'll go for his gun. It's amazing how slow the time goes by when you're not sure if you're going to live or die. Your gut tightens up and you start to sweat, knowing on you everybody placed a bet. But you're older now and you've slowed down. You're wishing now you'd rode past this town. But it wouldn't have mattered if you'd have rode by. There'd be another one waiting to try. You knew from the first that you were fast, and now you're wondering how long it'll last. Everything's slowed down almost to a crawl. He looks at you and he says with a drawl, I'll let you go first, 'cause you're an old man. Then quick as a wink, your gun's in your hand. As you fall to the ground, there's a smile on your face, and you tell him it's over for me. Now you'll take my place. As he was dying, he said I would take his place, but that didn't bother me, so I laughed in his face. I couldn't hardly believe it. I beat him to the draw, and he was supposed to be the fastest anybody ever saw. He was a goal for which I practiced and trained, but now that I beat him, I can almost feel his pain. He was just an old man who used to be fast. I reckon the smile on his face meant he knew this was his last. Now I'm the fastest gun, the fastest in the land, and I'll wait for somebody to try my hand. It took quite a while to get to the top. Now that I'm here, I don't ever want to stop. But the thing that bothers me was the smile on his face, and I wonder, will I be able to smile when someone takes my place? Ain't them good? I enjoyed writing them. I hope you enjoyed hearing them. This spot would normally be for a guest, but we haven't got a guest this week. So I'm asking you, would you like to be my guest? All you have to do is send me an email to jc@outlawspublishing.com and tell me why you'd like to be on this show. That's jc@outlawspublishing.com. Tell me why you want to be a guest on this show. You know, for some time now, there's been a kind of racism in the book business about the Western. Even though Westerns are enjoyed by millions of people, the huge publishing corporations just don't sign Western authors. Is this because the Western is a lesser story, a lesser book? Is it something that you and I shouldn't be reading? No, it's because the decision makers don't feel that they're cool or hip enough to be worthy of their attention. A Western author recently asked me that same question. JC, why do the agents and publishers ignore us? I told him the same thing I just told you. They don't feel that we're hip enough or cool enough or worthy of their attention. But they're like foolish sheep. They follow the trends, but do not understand the power of the Western audience. The Western has a strong fan base who are voracious in their reading habits. The Western's a strong seller. It's the mule, it's the ox of the book business. Westerns steadily sell all the time, and some Western authors are lucky enough to be able to make a living from their books. The publishing masters of the world don't understand that Western fans are as alive and well as they ever were. They strongly support Western authors like myself and read books. They watch movies and catch bonanza and Gunsmoke on TV. They go to Western fairs and meet their favorite Western actors at conventions. They go to the rodeos and they drive to see Westerns at the movie theater. They're a loyal people, and publishers do not understand. They're not a people who want to read the latest sex novel. They want a good old-fashioned adventure with a meat-eating, cow-herding, heterosexual cowboy. The time of the Western is still here, and that's one of the reasons I started my own publishing company, Outlaws Publishing. We're not an artistic operation. We're not interested in breaking rules, boundaries, or making you squirm in your seat. Our goal is to release books by Western authors and support that author along the way. We're not looking to take money from authors for formatting or uploading to Amazon. We're not looking to make anyone feel like an outsider. We want to include Western authors from around the world and help them reach their potential. I'm calling you, the Western author. Come and stand with us in our publishing venture. Talk to me. Tell me what you want from a publisher. Tell me how we can best serve you. Join our family and let's break bread together and make sure that we're working together day and night to please the Western reader. Together, we can make something happen. Alone, we may just find ourselves still stuck in the sea of posturing publishing companies and unresponsive agents. Now again, you can contact me through an email, jc@outlawspublishing.com. I look forward to hearing from you. That's jc@outlawspublishing.com. Now it looks like the time's coming to close the show down. I'd like to read to you an excerpt from one of my books. This old cowboy's named Melvin. You know, on the back cover, I warned you what kind of feller he was. But people seem to like the story. Here it is. I like to tell folks that my stories go from heroes to zeros. The heroes being the ones with the white hats. Of course, the zeros wear the black hats, just like the old-timey Westerns used to be. Now, this Melvin that I wrote about, he is evil with a capital E. Pure adulterated evil. I was asked the question one time, what caused Melvin to be the way he is? Well, I can't answer that question. Well, what kind of family did he grow up in? Well, he grew up in a fundamentalist family, a religious fundamentalist. But they didn't never paddle him. They didn't spank him. They weren't mean to him. So what caused Melvin to turn out to be evil? It seems that in today's society, people want to blame somebody else for everything that they do. Well, I feel differently about that. I think each one of us are responsible for our own destiny. I can't blame my parents for the way that I turned out. I can't blame somebody for what I do. It's me that's doing it. I'm responsible for everything that I do. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Melvin. Here we go. Thanks to Hollywood, the things we believe or not believe are set by the things we witness in the movies. The way a bullet enters a man's body, for instance. One instance that comes to mind is the movie Shane, starred Alan Ladd and of course Jack Palance as the bad guy. The scene in the saloon where Jack Palance's character shoots Elisha Cook Jr.'s character, the poor sodbuster was pushed through the saloon door and out into the middle of the street from the impact of the bullet. There are many other examples I could quote about the same thing happening. But there's the other side of the coin, so to speak, where the man gets shot with 6 slugs from the same type gun that Jack Palance used. The man stumbles a little bit, grabs his chest, and collapses. This is, in my humble opinion, what's called fiction. Won't you keep that in mind as we read this story? It is fiction. The year 1875, Dakota Territory. Melvin Reasoner was born a healthy 8-pound, 6-ounce baby boy into a family of religious fundamentalists. What happened to Melvin to cause him to turn to a life of crime and become one of the most vicious killers in the Dakota Territories? He had a normal upbringing, if you could call living under the strict rules of a group of fundamentalists normal. Early on in his life, he began rebelling against all the rules. He spent many hours sitting alone, supposedly to repent. He was lucky in one respect. The fundamentalists didn't believe in corporal punishment. He was never spanked or paddled. Sometimes he wished his parents had used the rod instead of what they did to him. In his way of thinking, it would have been a whole lot easier than having to sit alone for hours, supposedly to think about your transgressions. That was the term his parents used. When he turned 17, he saddled a one old plow horse they used to cultivate the fields and rode away from his childhood home. He never once looked back. He had no money or provisions. The only things he had were the clothes he was wearing. He had no idea where he was going. He only knew he had to get away. He traveled through the night until right before dawn when he came to a small farmhouse. It was still dark, so there was no one up yet. He stopped his mount and climbed down. He hesitated, looking around. Then he walked to the door, turned the knob, and entered the house. He had just closed the door behind him when he heard a metallic clicking sound. Someone struck a match and lit a lamp sitting on a table in the middle of the room. "What you doing in my house?" a man with a double-barrel shotgun asked gruffly. "I was just looking for something to eat," Melvin said, quickly putting his hands in the air. "Ain't you never heard of knocking on a man's door?" The old man lowered the shotgun. "You can get yourself dead just walking in on a man. If you're just after something to eat, then sit yourself down and I'll get you a little something to tide you over." He set the shotgun against the wall and turned away toward the stove. Melvin reached and picked up the weapon the man had propped against the wall. He held it level with his waist. He cocked one of the hammers and he pulled one of the triggers, shooting the man in the back. The slug entered the man's body almost in the center of his back, cutting it almost in half. The power from the projectile pushed the man forward, causing him to land on top of the stove, spilling a pot of beans simmering there before sliding to the side onto the dirt floor. The blood started seeping into the dirt floor almost immediately. Melvin turned quickly to a sound on his left side. A woman in a nightgown stepped through the door, took one look at the dead man, and proceeded to scream. "Shut up, woman!" yelled Melvin. "I don't like that screaming." She either didn't hear him, or else she was in so much shock she couldn't stop. Melvin turned slightly, the shotgun in the same position, pulled back the other hammer, and squeezed the trigger. The impact slammed the woman's body back through the doorway from where she had just came. "I told you to stop your screaming," he said calmly. "You should have listened." He laid the shotgun on the table beside the lamp, then turned in a circle surveying the room. He spotted what he was looking for in a small cupboard across the room. He had almost reached his destination when out of the corner of his eye he saw some movement. He stopped immediately and turned toward the sound just in time to see a door was slightly open, then closed quietly. He went back to the table and picked up the shotgun, looking around the room for shells. He opened a few drawers by the stove and dry sink, but didn't find any. He decided to take the chance that whoever was in the room wouldn't know the gun was empty. "All right," he said loudly, "whoever's in that room better come on out, or I'm going to unload both barrels of the shotgun through the door." That's all I'm going to read right now. You want to know what else happened to Melvin, where he did, where he went, so forth and so on? You need to take a look at it. jchalseybooks.com. You can find it. You can find it on Amazon. You can even send me an email, jc@jchalseybooks.com or jc@outlawspublishing.com. I'll bet you we can get a copy to you some way. Well, they're telling me it's time to say good night. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did. Now listen to this. Next week, we're going to be introducing our first guest, and you'll have the opportunity to hear him speak more than me. For those that travel with me tonight, I want to say thank you. And those that are listening to the recording of this show, I want to say this: I'm sorry I missed you live. Until we meet again, as Roy Rogers would say, happy trails.
It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.